Probably about the same.
Oops. Ah. Well, it's not like. So now what we will do is we will have an introduction. And I would like to do something different. What I would like to do is I would like to mute myself, and I would like the speaker to actually say something about herself. We're going to do things a little bit different, and then she can go on to her presentation. So with no further ado, Elaine.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody, it appears is muted. If you're not, if you would do that, that would be helpful. So what I'll tell you, oh, I like that. Somebody just gave me the thumbs up. So what I'd like to say is that I've been a full-time traveling musician since 1979, and in the mid-'80s, I had a spiritual awakening, and ever since then, I've been using spiritual principles and thoughts and ideas in my music, and I've become more and more of a songwriter. And in the early 90s, around 1992, 93, two wonderful things happened, and fairies came into my life. So I have my little, just a baby fairy crown on today. The fairies came into my life and brought infinite possibility, brought creativity, joy, wonder, prosperity, just really wonderful things. And I also found the science of mind principles through the Church of Religious Science. And a few years before that, I had found the full moon gatherings and circles of women at the Unitarian Fellowship in Morristown. This is all up in New Jersey. And so everything I do now is in the context of these beautiful principles called New Thought Philosophy, and it's the Science of Mind brand of New Thought. And what New Thought means is there really aren't any new thoughts, but what we do have are new ways of thinking about things for us. So one of the things that I've learned and I've done my best to embody is no matter what the conditions look like, there's the divine plan that isn't really, it's bigger than I am. It's bigger than all of us. We can tap into it and we can actually steer that plan. And part of doing that is to, for me anyway, to get into a place of gratitude and joy, because those two places are the highest level of frequency. So when we're in a high vibration of frequency, things will happen for us. We'll have serendipity, we'll have synchronicity. Whenever I have those two things, it's called the God wink. There was a book called The God Wink, and I like that thought that whether you call it God or goddess or all that is, or the higher power, light, love, beauty, wisdom, joy, all these are words for the same thing, that energy. And Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of the Science of Mind, he wrote the book, and then the whole philosophy and even religion, although it's more of a philosophy, came. He calls God the thing itself. So that's kind of interesting. The thing itself, you know, you could call it angels, you could call it fairies, you could call it Sheila Woods. You know, you could call it whatever resonates with you. You can call it Elaine Silver. My husband's on here. You can call it James Alexander. It's an energy. And in the Science of Mind, our first principle in the way we pray is to acknowledge that God, or whatever you want to call that energy, that light, that is all that is. And everything else that exists in the formed and the formless are an extension of the source. So today I'm going to talk about the interdependent web of all existence, which is the seventh principle of the Unitarian Universalist congregations. And, you know, before I start with the actual program, I'm going to, well, this is the program. I'm going to read the principles. I'm sure everybody's familiar with them, but I'm just going to read them just in case there's some people on here that are not part of the UU. And I love these principles. They totally resonate with me. They resonate with science of mind. It's perfect. Number one, first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. And I would kind of add that that's for all congregations, that anybody that's in any congregation experiences acceptance, encouragement, and spiritual growth. The fourth principle is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Fifth principle, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. And I think some of that is being questioned right now, and we are the people, it's up to us. Sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are part. And so I mentioned that in the Science of Mind principles and our 5-step prayer technology. It's a method for praying. The first step is recognition that God is all that is. And the second step is unification. So if God is all that is, then I am that too. I'm made of that energy, that awesomeness, that light, that spirit, and it's in this form. And you know, nothing ever goes away, it just changes forms. So this is God, Goddess, all that is in the form of, Reverend Faerie Elaine. So I wanted to begin the music part with a song I made. I may have done it at the UU before, but I think it works well for this. And it's called There Is Only One. We smile in the same language. We all breathe the same air. We are all connected. Let's join now together in prayer. There is no separation. There is only one. Move from inspiration. Feel the healing that's begun. Now that's going to be the chorus. If you want to join in on any of that, you're welcome to. Here's the first verse. We can help each other through this life, because there is only one. When we stand together as the light, the healing has begun. We smile in the same language. We all breathe the same air. We are all connected. Let's join now together in prayer. There is no separation. There is only one. Move from inspiration. Feel the healing that's begun. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this first line here. You feel joy, I feel you. You are suffering, I am too. For there is only one. The healing has begun. We smile in the same language. We all breathe the same air. We are all connected. let's join now together in prayer. There is no separation, there is only one. Move from inspiration, feel the healing that's begun. Now in Science of Mind, we say there really is nothing to be healed, only something to be revealed. So when the truth is revealed, sometimes that what seems to be healing is healing, revealing is healing. It can be instantaneous. You don't have to go for 20 sessions of psychotherapy. It can happen instantly. For healing is revealing, trade false beliefs for truth. And healing is the feeling as we stand in the absolute. Smile in the same language. We all breathe the same air. We are all connected. Let's join now together in prayer. There is no separation. There is only one. Move from inspiration. Feel the healing that's begun. For there is only one. There is only one. For there is only one. So it is. So I want to move now to some reading. Where's my reading? First, I have a reflection on the seventh principle, which was in the book, The Seven Principles in Word and Worship by Reverend Forrest Gilmore. And I'm sure most of us here are familiar with that book. But let me read what he says. I love this. Our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, is a glorious statement. Yet, we make a profound mistake when we limit it to merely an environmental idea. It is so much more. It is our response to the great dangers of both individualism and oppression. It is our solution to the seeming conflict between the individual and the group. Our seventh principle may be our Unitarian Universalist way of coming to fully embrace something greater than ourselves. The interdependent web, expressed as the spirit of life, that's one of your songs, the ground of all being, the oneness in all existence, the community forming power, the process of life, the creative force, even God, that energy, can help us develop that social understanding of ourselves that we and our culture so desperately need. It is a source of meaning to which we can dedicate our lives. And to understand that there's only one of us, it's just like different aspects of the one. You know, I'm known as Elaine Silver. I'm known as Faerie Elaine of the Silver Stream of Consciousness. And that's not who I am, but that is what I'm called. What I am is an extension of source energy, an expression of spirit, and each one here is too. So I have some quotations that I wanted to read you too, and then I'll get into another song. So having to do with the interconnected web of all. This is a quotation by Albert Einstein. He says, "Life is a great tapestry. The individual is only a thread in an immense and miraculous pattern." So each one of us, we're a thread in that huge pattern of life. It's as if the universe were a huge sun, you know, let's say it's this gigantic sun, this energy, and each one of us is a ray of sunshine. Okay, here's another quotation I absolutely love by Maya Angelou. I love this. "You don't need another person, place, or thing to make you whole. God already did that. Your job is to know it." I'm going to read it again. I love it so much. "You don't need another person, place, or thing to make you whole. God already did that. Your job is to know it. And I have two more quotations that I love. This one is from John Kabat-Zinn. He's a well-known proponent of mindfulness meditation. He says, you are whole and also part of a larger and larger circle of wholeness you may not even know about. You are never alone, and you already belong. You belong to humanity. You belong to life. You belong to this moment, this breath. And then this fourth quotation that I love so much is by Alan Cohen, who is a many, many times best-selling author. He writes about philosophy and wonderful things. He's well known in the Unity and Science of Mind movement. So he says, those who love you are not fooled by mistakes you have made in dark images you hold about yourself. They remember your beauty when you feel ugly, your wholeness when you are broken, your innocence when you feel guilty, and your purpose when you are confused. So we can know the truth for each other, even if sometimes we don't feel that it's true. When we're in that dark night of the soul, or that thing that might seem true but really isn't. And that's when you have faith, when you have a hope but you have no evidence. That's what faith is. So I wanted to move on a little bit and talk to you about Genesis Farm, which is in New Jersey. It's in Blairstown, New Jersey, in Warren County. So it's one of the counties that touches the Delaware River, and then right across from the Delaware River is Pennsylvania. So it's really very, very country out there. You know, New Jersey is also known as the Garden State. And so it does still have a lot of gardens, and it has a lot of beauty. It is like an Eden and Garden of Eden, but it's got everything else too. So anyway, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the founder and what she taught me years ago, back in the 80s. I saw her. Her name is Sister Miriam, and the Genesis Farm is an ecological and organic farm in Blairstown, New Jersey, founded in 1980 as a project of the Dominican Sisters. And so Sister Miriam she's a nun. She's awesome. And I heard her once quote Thomas More, and I'll paraphrase now what I remember her saying. It was a defining moment for me to take in this concept. She says, and this is paraphrasing, that we are each microcosms of the earth. Mother Earth herself is a sentient being. The trees on the planet are her lungs. The rivers and streams are her bloodstream. And the human beings are the brains and technology of the earth. We don't really need another technological breakthrough. I mean, it's nice to have it. We have it here. But now more than ever, we need a breakthrough in humanity. So this song that I'm going to share with you was very much inspired by Alan Cohen, who talked about you're not fooled by others who love you are not fooled by the mistakes we may have made and dark images that we might hold about ourselves. Alan Cohen. And for a long time, back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, he would come to New Jersey and New York, in the area where I was living, and I would be his musical accompanist and accompany him in other ways. I would pick him up at the airport. I was like his assistant, kind of his sidekick. And so he wrote many books, and this song takes in some of the titles of the books, and it's called Breathe Deeply. Actually, I'm in the wrong key here. I'm in this key, yeah. So there's take a deep breath of life for the Breathe Deeply. There's joy can be your compass. Rich in spirit. I didn't use are you as happy as your dog. But for the breathe deeply, take a deep breath of life is one of his books, and dare to be yourself is one of the books. And joy can be your compass. And your part, if you want to sing, goes like this. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. That's all you do. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. Take a deep breath of life. Dare to be yourself. Follow love, follow bliss. Joy can be your compass. Here's us. When you breathe deeply. Let me hear you. Come on. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. We are one. Yes, we are one. We are daughter. We are son. We are father and mother. We are children of each other. I am healed. It's in the field. It's truth revealed. It's what I know and feel. These are riches of the Spirit. It's the one voice, and you can hear it when you breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. Now, when I recorded this song in New York, I had some doo-wop backup singers helping me out. I had Johnny Stompanato and Frenchy Concepcione, and they were doing stuff like this. Lum, 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 lama, lama, lum, lum. Lum, lama, lama, lum, lum. Some of you can do that. Lama, lama, lum, yeah. Do 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 lum, lum. Lama, 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 lum, lum. Lama, 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 lum. Lum, the Dalai Lama. One more time. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. Take that deep breath. Breathe. Okay, breathe deeply. Let me see if I can. I'm not watching myself. Oh, somebody's clapping. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. You can clap if you want. Some of you, I can see you. There's my husband doing this. Donald James Alexander. Oh, this is nice to get to see some of you. But the ones that I can't see, you can clap that way. So, let me get back to this program. I'm enjoying this very much. I like that I have a little bit of control here. So, you know, I did talk a little bit about Genesis Farms and how we are really connected. And so the next song, I have a couple of songs here. It's like a little medley of songs for the earth. And the first one is called Touch the Earth. And if you want to sing, the part goes like I sing, touch the earth, and you sing, touch the earth, and I sing, touch the earth, touch the earth, touch the earth, touch the earth. So that's all just touching the earth, and then together we sing, speak of love, walk on common ground, speak of love, walk on common ground. Here we go. Touch the earth, 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 speak of love, walk on common ground. Very good. I can see some of you singing. In every living thing, there's a life force burning, in living waters flowing, in wind and now we're turning. In every living thing, there's a life force glowing, in trees that are reaching, in oceans that are pounding. Here's us. Touch the earth, 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 speak of love, walk on common ground. The balance of the earth is a circle never ending. Life flows into life. There's a constant beauty blending. Now there is a threat. There is danger on the land. And we could turn our lives into burning sand. Here's us. Touch the earth, 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 speak of love, walk on common ground. In every living thing, every other thing is found. In living in our world, we all walk on common ground. Peace begins within. Peace it gently sings as we choose to find the pure light within each living thing. That's right. Touch the earth, 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 speak of love, walk on common ground. Speak of love, speak of love, walk on common ground. One more. Speak of love, walk on common ground. Touch the earth, feel the sky. Touch the earth, feel the sky. Touch the earth, feel the sky. The universe is my supply. The universe is my supply. Talk of love, walk on common ground. Forgot where the capo was there. Here we go. Talk of love, walk on common ground. the wind, see the fire. Feel the wind, see the fire. The water's edge is rising higher. The water's edge is rising higher. Talk of love, walk on common ground. 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 So this next song is one called Children of the Earth Tribe. It's part of this medley. It's C minor medley. Excuse me. Children of the Earth Tribe. It was written by Margot Adler. I'm sure some of you are familiar with her. She and I were crone together at Rowe Conference Center. I think it was in 2014. 2012? I have to figure out the math. I was the baby crone. Couldn't wait. Here it goes. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. See, we're just all one. We're all on the earth. We're all part of the tribe. Let's try that part. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Some say namaste. Some say Homitakwi Asin. Some say oh. Some say shalom. We all call Mother Earth our home. Come on. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Protect her. Respect her. Please don't neglect her. We all affect her. We all affect her. And isn't it interesting that now for the last however long, few months for some other countries, how the earth in just a short time has regenerated. So by us not going out to work and driving our cars and manufacturing and putting pollution on the planet, it's not taking long for the earth to regenerate. And you know, we have that expression, save the earth, save the earth, save the earth. You know, the earth as a sentient being, my interpretation of this is the earth doesn't care. The earth doesn't care what we do to her, with her, because it's not the earth we're saving, it's our own environment that we need to continue as a species. Look how quickly when we stopped, how that earth just came back to the beauty and the wisdom that she is. Here we go. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Children of the Earth Tribe, rise up now. Okay. Thank you. So, we're going to move on. Hey, Bree's clapping. That's nice. Thank you. And let's see, where are we? Just to recap, the seventh principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are part. And one of the New Thought principles that I just love, I resonate with, I believe, I teach, I witness, I accept, I allow it, is what I call the sacred mirror. And so the idea is that everything that each one of us individually sees, recognizes, experiences, somehow that is our own reflection. You know, if we didn't have it in us, and we're all humans, and we all have a lot, and we have things we want, and maybe we have some things that we don't want, and we can know for each other the truth that we are beautiful, loving, fantastic, divine beings having a human experience. So this song, this was written by Pat Humphreys and Judy Small, and I think that as Unitarians, many of you are probably familiar, especially with Pat Humphreys. She's a wonderful, wonderful performer and songwriter. I've recorded a few of her songs, including this one. And it's called Walls and Windows. And, you know, it's a very human view of being in this world. And it includes the, what I call, again, the sacred mirror. Walls and windows. I'll start with the chorus. Hold on, I'm having a twist. Did you sing? There we go. Sorry. Did you sing? Okay, here's the chorus. Do you think of me as an... Oh, I know what it is. It's in this key. It's in this key. Did you sing your children lullabies to calm their fears at night? Did you hold them gently till they went to sleep? Did you plant in them seeds of hope for new and better life? Did you make them promises you couldn't keep? Here's the chorus. And do you think of me as enemy, or could you call me friend? Will we let our differences destroy us in the end? Here it comes. The wall that stands between us could be a window too. When I look into the mirror, I see you. When I look into the mirror, I see you. And I want to just interject something, maybe a little humor. How many of you saw me make an error? See, that means I'm a magician, because that was just an illusion. And you're a magician too, if you could see it. All right. Do you have sons who fight for peace the way I'm told mine do? Do they send you photographs from foreign lands? Do you chill to see the missiles? And do they haunt your dreams? Do you wonder who's the power, who's the hands? And do you think of me as enemy, or could you call me friend? Will we let our differences destroy us in the end? The wall that stands between us could be a window too. When I look into the mirror, I see you. When I look into the mirror, I see you. As we move ahead, we see signs that walls of fear don't need to stand between the truth and dreams. Walls and windows rise into the distance as we dare. Look into the mirror and see peace? Do you think of me as an enemy, or could you call me friend? Will we let our differences destroy us in the end? The wall that stands between us could be a window too. When I look into the mirror, I see you. Come on. When I look into the mirror, I see you. Two more. Let me hear you. When I look into the mirror, I see you. One more. When I look into the mirror, I see you. Nice folk music ending. That's called the plagal cadence for the musicians there when it goes to the 4. So, how's everybody doing? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up. I'm gonna give yeah, you can clap like that. Yeah, you can give real thumbs up or the reaction. Where's James? I see James sitting there. Maybe did you fall asleep? Yeah. He goes by Donald. His real name's Donald, but we all know him as James, and I lovingly refer to him as James Allah. Allah means precious, beloved. James Allah. I pick up my phone. Call James Allah. Calling James Allah. That's how I have it spelled, so it knows what I'm saying. Call James Allah. All right, so gotta do this. We have 2 more songs for our program, and you know, I love the idea of taking the principles that I've learned and putting them into song. And a few summers ago for the library summer reading program, which is a national program, the theme was build a better world. You know, and it was right after the build a wall thing. So they came out with build a better world, which I love that idea. And so this is a kid's song. Let's build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand. Let's build a better world. That's chorus. But I talk about we are one big family and we are the human race, because that's what we are on this planet, the human race. And in Science of Mind, we have something called race consciousness. That has nothing to do with black, white. It just has to do with, this is what Ernest Holmes called it. And that, you know, we're talking 100 years ago. So the race consciousness means that what we're born into, what we have, maybe it's conscious, maybe it's unconscious. Typically, race consciousness is unconscious until we become aware of, you know, what is accepted. And it's a good idea to kind of question a lot of things. Don't just accept anything because somebody says it. Think about, well, why do I believe that? What about that enlightens me? What about that serves the better good? Race consciousness. And I also use the idea of the golden rule in the song. Now, the golden rule, which I found out in my studies of Science of Mind, is it's the one thread that shows up in every major religion. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and in many other words, but that's the way I learned it. So we're gonna do build a better world. Let's build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand. Let's build a better world. You ready to try it with me? Here we go. Let's build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand and let's build a better world. We are one big family and we are the human race on a big and beautiful planet spinning through outer space. Let's build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand and let's build a better Everyone has value, and we all need love and respect. This helps to build a better world as we reach out to connect. Let's build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand and let's build a better world. My favorite verse. Do unto each other, it's the wise and golden rule. You're my sister, you're my brother, and life is one big school. Build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand, and let's build a better world. Now we're going to kind of swing it here a little bit. Let's build a better world for every boy and girl, every woman and man. Take them by the hand and let's build a better world. Every woman and man, take them by the hand and let's build a better world. Let's build a better. Now in Science of Mind, we always do everything in the present tense, so we're going to do that. We are building a better world. We are building a better world. We are building a better world. Let's build a better world.
No, you don't need to play me.
I hear somebody talking.
All right, thank you.
Hi. Oh, James, you gotta mute yourself, James. People could hear your phone conversation. Why aren't you mute? I can mute you. There we go. Hi, sweetie. I didn't mean to cut you off. But, I was gonna sing one more song, and that will bring us close to 11:30. So, yeah, we all know this one. So what I want to do is invite you to, let me see, I didn't put it out. It's a little nerve-wracking sometimes to be doing this in front of everybody. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to sing Imagine together. And, you know, the word imagine, that's where the word magic comes from. Magic comes from the word imagine, imagination, how we conjure things in our minds. The mind is so powerful, you know, and it's a scientific tool that we can use if we know how to. A trained mind is so much more powerful than an untrained mind. And when we have unconscious thoughts and beliefs, those are overpowering sometimes and very powerful because they just are. It's like a lot of that is erased consciousness. But when we learn to train our mind and to become aware of our conscious awareness, you know, it's like not just being aware, but being aware that we're aware is another level. And maybe there's even aware that we're aware that we're aware. It is powerful to have that awareness, and it's a practice. You know, it becomes and believe me, I am not a master at it all. That is one of my goals. You know, I have that as a goal to be a master of one thing that I would love to master. And this is me just declaring what is so for me and what I would love to have. And my sister's really good at this. My sister Catherine is excellent. And I call this the sacred pause. So that we can give ourselves time to respond or reflect first and then respond rather than just fly off the handle and react. So I'm a Scorpio, you know, I got a stinger, and that's a habitual way of being for me. And I'm doing my best to be aware. Ooh, I better not say, sometimes I'll do this just to myself, like I'll just zip it up. And I don't know if anybody sees me do that, but I've done that many times. Even yesterday I did it. So it's important to just stop and listen for love. It's a choice, you know, as human beings, the thing that separates us from the animal kingdom. We are animals, but we have consciousness. We have the ability not just to think, because I'm sure that animals think, but we have the ability to steer our thoughts. And Abraham Hicks calls it forking off. So, you know, if you're moving in this direction and you realize for a second, you know, oh, wow, how does this feel? You know, it's a feeling, thoughts, how thoughts make us feel, because really the thought comes first. Sometimes we think it's the feeling that makes the thought, but really it's a thought, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that does conjure up that feeling. So here we are, we're on this, you know, road to ruin, let's say, in our minds. And we can get to a point where we realize it. And then instead of continuing this way, Abraham calls it forking off, and we can go in another direction that is a much better feeling thought. So it's how we feel, it's how we feel. And this song, Imagine, by, of course, my favorite Beatle, makes me feel really good to sing it and to have people sing with me. And we're just about through with our time, so I'm going to say thank you so much for your time and attention. And I know that there's a way to contribute to the center, so I'm sure that they'll tell you how you can mail a check, or maybe they have PayPal. I don't know. But anyway, here we go. We'll all become magicians as we imagine the world that works for everybody. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A family of men and women. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Now I came up with a new verse for this song, Imagine, by John Lennon. And it's as if John Lennon and Ernest Holmes, founder of Science of Mind philosophy, it's as if those two have come into my conscious awareness. And brought their beautiful philosophy into the song. So here goes. Imagine knowing oneness. Spirit runs as you and me. We demonstrate our power as we create reality. Imagine all the people living as the light. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I know someday you've joined us, and the world will live as one. And the world, it lives as one. And the world, it lives as one. So it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I guess I will be around for some questions. And I'm going to turn it over to the next person who's in charge. Namaste, and I will be here. Turn on my fan. Okay. I think I can unmute everybody. Yes. There we go. I've unmuted everybody who wasn't muting themselves. And John, what's next? Is there more?
Well, right now what we can do is we can have Q&A if you'd like. And
yeah, that's what
whoever
that's part
would like
of the deal.
to,
That's who we
yes.
How about if we do this? How about if we raise our hand? I don't see who was talking, but there's a thing, you can either do this or you can raise the hand. So who is that was just talking? I don't know. Was it Wanda? Was that you?
Yes, I was.
It just.
Okay, Wanda, I'll call on you.
Okay, I wanted to know if Monique and Sandy made it on here because we couldn't see, and I don't see them. They were trying to do it this morning.
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sandy and Monique? No.
No.
So I was going to call them, but I couldn't tell if they were there. Everybody was blanked out.
Wanda,
The thing is down below, you do have a thing that says participants. There's a thing on the bottom that says participants. So, I just want to say that part of my excitement about, me, I always look at the bright side of life, is that when this happened and I knew that we were going to be isolating, I was so excited because I knew that we were going to be embracing technology, and it is a learning process. So right here down below where it says participants, we had 24, and you can see who is still here. I don't think we can see who was here, but that's a good way to see, if you have that question. So I don't know the answer, but
there are 3 people that are identified by their telephone. There's a couple of Samsung. I don't know who they are, but it might be Sandy and Monique, or it might be one of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and call them.
We're here.
Okay, Tom, go ahead.
Where are you, Sandy?
We're in the bedroom, but we are unable to work the thing. But maybe next week we'll learn. But we had a wonderful teacher come here, and so you can't see us, but we're here, and
Sandy,
and
there's a little.
Wanda, you're the best.
Sandy, go to the bottom of your screen and look for the little video, and click on the red video.
Is that red, Mom?
No, here.
Down at the bottom left.
Yes,
Mute and then stop video or start video.
yes, we're allowing it to happen.
Okay. Well, we don't see
There
it.
you are.
Oh, I
Now we can see you.
Yay.
See ya?
see
How's
how
that?
easy it is. Zoom is easy. Yay!
Hey, with a little help from my friends, and we send our best to you all.
Oh, yeah.
Something's in the way though.
Someone else's turn.
Okay, I'm going to call on Joe Wetzel.
Okay, that's fine. I was waving to Sandy, but that's okay.
Hi, I'm waving to you.
I enjoyed, hello
Oh.
Sandy, it's Monique. I enjoyed your presentation very much, especially the music. I'm jealous of that. I can't sing anymore. In any case, you're talking about a learning curve here with a new technology. I offer this in a spirit of love. 5 of us or 6 of us remained on visual, and within a minute, I raised my thumb like that. You said, I'd like to see thumbs being raised. So you were looking for audience participation, which all speakers like you and I do, like you and me do. And then while you're singing the songs, you're saying things like, let me hear you now, come on, and like this, as if you could hear us, but we were all muted. So you're looking for the audience response, and you weren't getting it. And I've been giving talks since 1954, and I would be unable to give a talk to a room full of photographs. I need to look in their eyes and see something. So I offer that in the spirit of love, that if you have us there and we like to see each other, you were trying to get us to respond to you, and I didn't even move my lips because I knew you couldn't hear me. And you like the sign. The first thing you said was like to see that thumb. So you're looking for the resulting response. So I share it with you. Do what you want, but I offer that as a spirit of love.
I hear, I'll respond to that. I hear you, and that's fine. For me, I wasn't even watching anything. I had my lyrics in front of, it's very, it's a little bit disruptive for me to be performing and I can see myself. So right now I can see myself, and I can see everybody, I think, or most of, there's 2 pages. I can see what I have on the first page. Let me go into page 2 so I can see who's there. All right, so, but that's the imagination. I was just using my imaginations of just inviting people to sing and to thumbs up, and I could see that, you know, without my physical eyes, I could see it in my heart.
Lowell,
Just as an invitation, you know, for me, typically I work alone. Occasionally I'll have somebody accompany me, but mostly it's by myself. So my whole backup is the audience, whether I can hear them or not. I know it's there. So it's part of this oneness, and it's just an invitation for people to join. And you know, I honor what you're saying, but everybody does it different. So thank you. Okay, Tom, are you Thomas?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
it's me, Tom. And
Hi, Tom.
thank you for joining us, because you've been my favorite fairy for the last 20 years. And also, I feel so good that my church fellow parishioners have got it together to try to meet online. It's what I had hoped for and despaired of, and I'm so proud of us for joining together like this. In some ways, it feels more intimate almost than Sunday service in the same room. I know we're struggling with it, but it's a good struggle.
Yeah, you know, and then maybe in a few weeks, if we're still doing this, you could do it through Facebook Live, then a lot more people. It's a better quality sound. So I'm not there yet. I don't know yet, although I don't think it's that hard to learn. But you know, you could just use. I could use my cell phone. I could use the camera, and it makes a beautiful picture and sound, better sound. But how was the sound? Because was it okay? It was good. Okay, all right. Because I'm gonna present.
Pretty good.
It was pretty good.
I
I
don't know
just
if I can be